Have you ever noticed how different the world feels at 3 a.m.? Especially if it's just you alone in your room. During the day, life gets busy, right? There's noise, there's work, there are people to talk to, but when you wake up in the middle of the night, it's just you and your own thoughts, which seems so much louder when everything else is quiet. And for some reason, in that silence, every worry or the shadow of the past you've been pushing aside seems to be the only thing you can see. It's like the feeling of being so exhausted but still wide awake. You're you're feeling the pressure in your chest as you're staring at the ceiling and questioning why your brain is doing this to you again. Hi, my name is Nalin, and I am a mindfulness practitioner based in Japan. I share anonymous stories and sometimes my own, and I reflect on them through mindfulness so that we can live each day with a little more peace. So if this resonates with you, please leave your like, your comment, and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Today, I want to read you a post that I found about someone whose thoughts kept them awake, and maybe you'll be able to hear your own voices in them. And I like this story because when I read it, I just felt this is so raw. Here it goes. The post says, for the past 6 months, I've been waking up almost every night like clockwork at 2 or 4 a.m. with this harrowing pit of dread in my stomach. I start thinking over the past decade of my life, all the mistakes I've made, the years passing with no progress, and this heap of self-loathing and rage at myself for all my poor choices. I lie there in the dark, full of fear for my unknown future and sadness at where I am right now. I used to love going to sleep because I could be unconscious and not have to face life. But now even that small pleasure is gone. Why does this happen, and how do I make it stop? Well, this is so relatable, isn't it? I think all of us experience this once in our life, at least. For some people, maybe more often. Some of you may be experiencing it right now, and this is so normal. It happens to me as well. So once in a while, my brain would replay mistakes I did in the past or just some deep regrets I have. I'm going to share a very personal story. So for me, the thought that comes back to me the most, especially when I lie there in the middle of the night, is this a regret I have about not utter a word to my father as he was lying there in the hospital bed. I was just too choked up, and I was also quite young at that time. So I couldn't tell him how much I love him and how grateful I am for everything he's done for us, for our family. And that night he passed. That was my last chance, and I couldn't say a single word. And that is something that I still keep deep inside me, and it would surface once in a while, especially when things get really quiet, like at 3 a.m. Or I'll just think about all the problems that I need to solve the next day. This is classic, right? And I would feel this urgent pressure to solve them then and there in the middle of the night where I can do nothing. So my mind would run 1,000 miles an hour. So I wanted to find out why the same brain that is totally fine at 2 p.m. just becomes a disaster at 3 a.m. So I did some research, and there's a biological reason for it. So think of it like this. There are two parts of our brain, right? There's the rational adults who solve problems, who is more logical. And then there's this emotional child who just feel things, right? So at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., this adult part of your brain is basically offline. It goes to sleep. And when you wake up, so when you wake up in the middle of the night, right, and you're trying to solve your biggest life problems, you're doing that with only the emotional, reactive part of your brain. Think about that. So it's like you're trying to find your way out of a forest using a broken compass, right? Like the needle of the compass is just spinning in all directions. So in the end, you're just walking in circles. It's not helpful at all. So basically, your mind isn't looking for a solution at 3 a.m. It's just worrying. And worrying is when you identify the problem and imagine the absolute worst case scenario that could happen. Also completely ignore the fact that you actually have the strength and the resources to handle those problems. So you have to recognize that these thoughts aren't insights. They are just thoughts, and it's your brain operating in the survival mode. There's a quote that says, "You are not your thoughts, you are the person listening to them, and now the speaker is tired." That sums it up. So the best thing you can do is to be gentle, not run away from your thoughts, but remind yourself that my brain is tired and glitching right now, and whatever problem there is, we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll think about it tomorrow. And when I'm hit with those 3 a.m. thoughts and I can't go back to sleep, I do try a few things that I want to share with you today. So first is bringing my attention back to the senses. This may sound cliche, but it actually works if you really focus on it. Because it's so quiet at night, you can even hear your breathing quite well compared to daytime, right? Just notice your breath. Is your breath shallow or is it deep when you're breathing? And this trick is something I like to do, is that notice that after you exhale, after you breathe out, there's that small pause before you breathe in again. Just pay attention to that small pause, right? And see how it is. It's something we don't really notice because we just keep breathing, right, all the time. So if focusing on the breath feels difficult for you, another thing you can do is to place your hand on your belly and imagine your belly as a balloon. Just breathe deeply and slowly so that your hand rises and falls as you place it on your belly. If your brain tries to replay whatever mistakes, just notice it, that your mind is now somewhere else, and gently bring it back to the movement of your hand on your belly. Okay, it's about being kind to yourself, not fighting the thoughts. This is so helpful, especially when your adrenaline is high and you're just trying to solve everything at that time. And when that happens, your breath usually becomes shallow. So doing this normally helps. The second technique is the physical anchor. When your mind is replaying the past or anxious about the future, it means it's not there with you. It's either in the past or in the future, near or far, but it's not here, right? But what is real is here. The past is your experience, the future is your imagination. It is not here, it is not real. So you need to pull it back, bring it back to the now. What would help is notice the 5 things. This is your anchor. Notice the 5 things you feel against your skin at that moment. The bed sheet, how does it feel? Is it soft or is it a little rough? The duvet on your body, how heavy is it? Okay. Or even the feeling of the pillow, how does it feel against your ear? Try to describe those sensations in your mind, and that's going to make you stay in the present. I know it's boring, and that is the point, right? It forces your brain to stop playing your life movie and look at the now. So what matters is your attention to what you're doing, your intention to slow down and be more peaceful with yourself, and your lack of judgment. When I say the lack of judgment is when, even if the mind wanders off for the 10th time, it is okay. Just tell yourself this is normal, and it is. We all do it. What you need to do is just try to bring it back every time you notice it wandering somewhere else, and that's part of the practice. One thing I also remind myself is that our thoughts are not always true, right? A lot of the time we feel bad because we hold on too tightly to our thoughts. So the next time you feel like the thoughts are bothering you, try asking, is it really true what you're saying to yourself right now, what your mind is saying to you? Is it really true? Lastly, I want to leave you with another poem. I just love reading poems, so I hope you're not bored of it. I like it because it feels like someone else is seeing and speaking my deepest feelings for me. So this time I want to share this piece called The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. Here goes. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I'm free. Well, thank you so much for being with me until the end. I really, really appreciate all of you. All the likes, all the comments, it means so much to me. I feel so happy every time I read your comments, no matter how short or long it is. Well, I hope you take care of yourself. Be present, be kind, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.